All right, let's get you up to speed with the latest news break that is coming in from Mumbai after Dhurandhar. It is Ranveer Singh who is now on the hit list. The latest coming in is Ranveer Singh has received a threatening message. Let's take you on the details of what that message entails. Sources tell us following the shooting incident at Rohit Shetty's house, Bollywood actor Ranveer Singh has now received a message which is threatening in nature. It was sent via WhatsApp voice note demanding crores of rupees extortion. Following the threat, the Mumbai police was informed, following which security was increased outside Ranveer Singh's house. The sender also has mentioned that he is from the Bishnoi gang. The police are searching for the person who sent the threatening audio note. That's the latest that is coming in, viewers. A threatening WhatsApp voice note sent to actor Ranveer Singh. It's a note asking for money, extortion, where the Bollywood actor is concerned. Crores of rupees has been asked. Ranveer Singh has reported this incident and now the police have taken the investigations over. What we've been told that the responsibility of the voice note, the Bishnoi gang has claimed responsibility. All of this happens in the backdrop of shooting in front of Rohit Shetty's house, who is an action film director. Joining me is my colleague Divya Singh with the latest. Divya, what more can you add? And Divya, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't this the first time that Bishnoi's gang has now leveled an extortion threat where a Bollywood actor is concerned, asking for crores of money for security?
Well, Preeti, the sender, the accused person who sent this threatening voice note to Ranveer Singh, to actor Ranveer Singh, demanding crores of rupees, also in the voice note mentioned that he was a member of the Bishnoi gang. But it is yet not clear whether this is a person actually associated with the gang or not. He did mention in the voice note that he's part of the Bishnoi gang, threatened actor Ranveer Singh, demanded crores of rupees as extortion. So this could be a copycat also, or it could be a member of the Bishnoi gang, but only when the investigation is completed, when the person is apprehended, only then we'll know whether this person is actually a member of the Bishnoi gang or he is a copycat who is using the name of Bishnoi gang, threatening actor Ranveer Singh, demanding
impersonating the Bishnoi. So is it somebody who's impersonating the Bishnoi gang, or is it somebody else is needing to be investigated? But till now, Divya, the Bishnoi gang hasn't leveled extortion threats yet. If at all, after investigation, it is proven that the caller indeed is from the gang of Bishnoi, then this would be the first extortion threat to a Bollywood actor.
Exactly, Preeti. This could be the first time, because we've seen on earlier occasions as well the firing that happened at Salman Khan's residence, the killing of NCP leader Baba Siddiqui, the shootout at Rohit Shetty's residence. None of these cases there was demand of any kind of extortion amount. There were threats issued. There were they had also shared social media posts where they claimed that they had carried out the attack. The Bishnoi gang had carried out the attack. But this is for the first time that an extortion threat demanding crores of rupees has been issued through a voice note over WhatsApp on Ranveer Singh's mobile number. So that is now being investigated by multiple teams of the
All
Mumbai
right,
police
and now
and
what needs to be investigated is whether or not is this impersonation of someone connected to the Bishnoi gang, or indeed this is now the Bishnoi gang asking for extortion, protection money. Take you back, viewers, harks back to the early 90s, the 90s in Bollywood, where protection money was routinely given by Bollywood actors to gang members. Is this a redux of that? Too early, but investigations are on, and the latest we've been given to understand is that the police is trying to connect whether this was somebody impersonating as being part of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, or is it just a prank call or sorts. We'll keep you updated with the latest. Thank you, Devesh, joining us, giving us that news break there. With that, I want to quickly cut across, viewers, to the latest that we are tracking, where the Parliament comes into question. Today, finally, after whether they will or not, you had opposition uniting together, devoid of the TMC. TMC wasn't part of it, and moving a motion against the sitting speaker, a no confidence motion where the sitting speaker is concerned. And interesting, because now it seems it will be the first week of March where it will be come up for discussion. Has the motion been accepted? We're going to try and get in the latest details coming in on that. But interimly, till the time this comes to fruition, the speaker has decided he will not sit on proceedings. Here's more.
The opposition turns up the heat against Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, submitting a notice to move a no-confidence motion against him. Backed by 118 MPs, the notice accuses the chair of bias and partisanship, alleging denial of speaking time, selective action and sweeping suspensions. Opposition's main charge is Speaker not letting Rahul Gandhi complete his speech on the motion of thanks to the President's address.
उस संसद में अगर आप अपने विचार प्रकट करने के लिए रोकोगे, वो भी किसको? विपक्ष के प्रतिपक्ष के नेता को ही रोका जाता है, तो बाकी बात कहाँ रही? ये तो जनतंत्र के मूल पर ही तो आप ठेस लगा रहे यार। ये कोई बड़ी खुशी की बात नहीं है उनके खिलाफ लाना, लेकिन उनकी जो कारोबार जिस ढंग से चल रहा है उसके लिए लाया गया है।
From the memoirs,
Rahul Gandhi has not signed the notice. The Congress claimed the leader of the opposition backing a motion against the speaker would breach parliamentary convention. There are cracks within the opposition. The Trinamool Congress has stayed away from the no-confidence motion. The notice itself seemed to have been drafted in a hurry. The first notice carried a factual error, mentioning 2025 instead of 2026. A revised notice was submitted soon after. The move for no trust motion follows consultations within the India bloc, where leaders flagged BJP MP Nishikant Dubey's speech, quoting books inside house and the speaker's controversial claim suggesting women MPs from Congress posed a threat to the Prime Minister on February 4th. Amid mounting accusations, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju released fresh footage of the February 4 chaos, claiming these images reveal the security threats.
हम लोग बैठे हुए थे, देखे कैसे वो आगे बढ़ी, कैसे प्रधानमंत्री की कुर्सी जो आगे में वहां घेर करके खड़ी थी, तो स्पीकर ने बिल्कुल सही निर्णय किया कि जो उन्होंने मना किया आप नहीं आए। राहुल गांधी जैसे अपनी पार्टी को चलाना हो चलाएं, डुबाएं, लेकिन संसद नियमों से चलेगा, कानून से चलेगा।
बैठे थे उनके ऊपर।
The opposition dismisses the charges as deliberate diversion.
उन्होंने देखा नहीं क्या? आप लोगों ने वीडियो डाले हमारे, तो क्या उन्होंने वीडियो नहीं देखे थे उस वक्त? और किस तरह से हमें बेबुनियाद हमारे ऊपर आरोप लगाए जा रहे, मनगढ़ंत कहानियां बताई जा रही है। हम थोड़ी किसी को मारने गए थे, हम तो एक बैनर लेके गए थे। अब बैनर से डर गए, आप एक किताब लेने से डर गए, आपको टैरिफ के ऊपर बात नहीं करनी है, एब्सटीन के ऊपर बात करने से आप डर कतराते हो, ये तो सच सच बोलिए।
Parliamentary Affairs Minister, why he wants to prove Honorable Speaker wrong? Whatever the Honorable Speaker says, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister wants to prove that the Honorable Speaker is wrong. This is first time it is happening. We are very much pained that the leader of opposition is not allowed to speak by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister. He forces the Honorable Speaker to deny the right of the opposition to speak.
As things stand, a no-trust motion, even if admitted, is bound to fall as the NDA government has the numbers. The move by the opposition, however, is to embarrass the speaker, as no-confidence motions against the chair are a rare occurrence. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the latest news break right now coming in is the Speaker, Mr. Om Birla, has decided until and unless there is a discussion, if the motion is accepted, he will not chair the Lok Sabha. Top sources say that Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has decided he will not attend the House until the motion to remove him is discussed and decided upon. Although the rules do not require such a motion, but he's decided to keep away. It is likely, we don't right now know exactly if the motion has been accepted or if it will be accepted, but sources tell us that it will be accepted and it will be on March 9th, that first day of the second part of the budget session, that the discussion will take place on this. Joining me is my colleague Aishwarya Paliwal in just about a minute, but the latest that we are getting in, viewers, is the fact that the Speaker has decided to stay away from parliamentary proceedings until and unless the motion is brought up for discussion. All right, let's move on. Move on and cut across to our guest this evening. Joining me is Sanju Varma, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, Divya Mahipal Maderna, Spokesperson, Congress and former MLA, Javed Ansari, Senior Journalist. I want to bring in, before we get to our political guest, Javed Ansari. All of you, our panelists, will be given a 2-minute time to encapsulate your views. Javed, interesting. It's unfortunate. But yet, if you look at the history, 31 no-confidence motions have been moved in the history of India's parliament, 3 against speakers. This would be the third.
Indeed. The first one was against Mr. Mavlankar in the early 50s. And although the motion technically was not in other order, but then the Prime Minister of the day, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, said, let's not stand on technicalities, let's debate this. The way things were heading, something had to give, and therefore I'm not surprised, but I am certainly distressed because, I mean, how, the way Parliament has become dysfunctional is really distressing. I've covered Parliament for 40 years, and if you can't debate, discuss, if people don't have the right to speak in Parliament, then what else is Parliament meant for? It's meant for debate, it's meant to legislate. And the thumb rule is that the opposition must have its say and the government must finally have its way. I don't know how much of this is being followed, but what we see now is this unfortunate impasse, and this has become routine. This is not an aberration. This unfortunately has become routine. Every session starts off the first week, couple of days are just washed out, and then somehow there is some kind of a compromise. Why can't why can't the Lok Sabha have taken a leaf out of the Raj Sabha's book, where it's functioning? This paints parliamentarians and Parliament in a not so rosy picture. As it is, people don't have too much of faith, today's politicians don't enjoy a great amount of credibility with the people. And the more such things happen, that whatever little is left is further eroded. Inevitable, but certainly most unfortunate.
Sanju Varma, inevitable, unfortunate with what we are witnessing in Parliament. The motion still hasn't been accepted, but once it does, there will be a discussion. But a big question mark, Sanju Varma, if you look at the history of Parliament, the kind of trust deficit, especially in the last couple of sessions, it is, I would think, the worst of it all between the Treasury benches and the opposition MPs.
Preeti, I agree that everybody needs to be heard on the floor of the Parliament, both Treasury benches and the opposition benches. But where I disagree very humbly with Mr. Javed Ansari is this. The Parliament has certain rules and regulations and procedure needs to be adhered to. Now, I'm on Preeti Chaudhary's show. I can't be discussing the theory of relativity by Albert Einstein. I can't be discussing how Thomas Alva Edison in 1879 discovered the first incandescent light bulb, or the law of gravity by the law of gravity by Newton. So the limited point is that convention needs to be respected. Lok Sabha, in the portals of Lok Sabha, this is what happened. I will name these MPs because I think they need to be named and shamed. Manikam Tagore, Gurjeet Singh Audla, Amrinder Singh Raja Waring, Hibi Eden, Prashant Padole, C. Kiran Kumar Reddy, Dean Kuriakose, S. Venkatesan. Barring S. Venkatesan, all the other MPs are from the Congress party. Congress is number one when it comes to hooliganism and rowdy behavior bordering on thuggery on the floor of the parliament. The second thing is, the speaker clearly told Rahul Gandhi, under Rule 349, you cannot be quoting from a book, a magazine or a newspaper, and lo behold, today General Manoj Mukund Naravne has said his book is not published. Penguin Random House has said the book has not gone into publication. Anyone circulating any kind of material, PDF, otherwise, is tantamounting to copyright infringement. And the other thing I want to say is this, that what have the MPs said in their letter to the, Lok Sabha speaker? They have said that, हमें बोलने की आजादी नहीं है, हमें suspend क्यों किया गया? These 8 MPs were standing on the table of the Lok Sabha speaker. They were throwing paper rockets at the speaker. They were carrying out placards. गुंडागर्दी करोगे तो.
All right, Ms. Verma, I believe your time is up. I want to get in Divya Mahipal Maderna, the Congress spokesperson, on this. You've moved a no confidence motion, but it does seem some of your India allies don't have confidence in your own party. Why has TMC chosen to stay away from this no confidence motion?
Well, it's all with the principal opposition party, Preeti. And as we had seen that ED, CBI, all of these constitutional agencies have been used for their saffron agenda. And now we see the speaker, somebody who's supposed to be the custodian, the impartial referee of the democracy's greatest arena, is now the BJP's 13th batsman. You know what was happening? The leader of the opposition has not been given time to speak. He's not been allowed to speak. From last 4 days, we've been seeing what theatrics and dramas has been turning out. They're saying the opposition is creating a chaos. Is it really the opposition? Is it us? Is it the Prime Minister hiding behind the speaker? Or is it the leader of opposition hiding behind the speaker? I mean, it's all there in the public domain. We can all see it. I mean, the speaker went out and said कि मुझे बहुत खेद है और एक अप्रत्याशित घटना घटने वाली थी, कुछ प्रधानमंत्री के साथ हो सकता था. आई एम वेरी सॉरी टू से टू मेक समथिंग लाइक दिस. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस डिड दे हैव? इफ दे रियली हैड एन इंटेलिजेंस, देन हाउ डिड पहलगाम हैपन? हाउ डिड रेड फोर्ट हैपन? These are, I don't think somebody as dignified who's supposed to be an impartial referee of the House should make such statements. If it is important for the leader of the House to speak, it's equally important for leader of opposition to speak in the House. And what are they hiding? Why are we not having a debate here? There has to be certain kind of accountability. That's because the Prime Minister and the BJP does not want to ask the tough questions. Why? What about the US trade deal? What about the fate of the farmers? What about the Narwani Indo-China border security? What about jobs and inflation? Your foreign policy has gone for a toss. And we can all see it that you want to hide all these जो जनता के मुद्दे हैं, उनसे आप बचना चाहते हैं.
Ma'am, your time is up. Well, where General Naravne is concerned, he's actually come out through his publisher and says the book has not been published. So, that possibly answered one part of your question. But you've raised strong points. I want to bring in Javed Ansari. Final comments from all our panelists. Javed Ansari, 2 minutes to you. Because if there is a trust deficit, and it's unprecedented with what we've seen between the government and the opposition, where Parliament is concerned, even within the opposition, Javed, there are fissures. The sheer fact that something that Divya didn't quite answer, the TMC has chosen to stay away of signing the no confidence motion because they don't want to come off, being seen signing off on no confidence motion that stems with Rahul Gandhi in the pole position. They can't afford to do that. They're going into an election against the Congress.
Well, Preeti, like I said, I'm not surprised as far as the TMC is concerned. For now, they're staying out. This issue will come up before Parliament 20 days from now. 20 days is a very long time in politics. Who knows what might happen? So the jury is still out on TMC, but yes, certainly at the moment, it doesn't look good. Why? There is an absolute breakdown in Parliament. There is no communication. The doors have been shut from both sides as far as communications concerned. Parliament is all about, it's not just about what happens on the floor of the House. That's very important. But impasses have been broken earlier by backroom parleyers, by floor managers of both sides getting together in the Speaker's chamber or in the Leader of the House's chamber and talking things over. You can always. It's all about compromises. It's all about give and take. And Sanju ji was making very valid points that, as far as she was citing rules. But then these rules have to be applied uniformly. They cannot be pick and choose. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. What is good for the opposition must be applied with equal vigor when it comes to MPs from the Treasury benches. Much of what has happened could have been avoided.
Okay, Sanju Varma, I want to bring you in because, one can debate ad nauseum on, oh, it's terrible, it's happened, it's unprecedented, moving a privilege motion against, moving a no confidence motion against the Speaker. But Sanju Varma, if you break it down, let's look at the charges that have been leveled by the opposition. Opposition women MPs allege that the Speaker constantly allows defamatory comments made against women MPs to go on record. Now that is disparaging and damaging. Number two, Sanju Varma, which was a point that was made by Divya Mahipal as well. If either the Speaker comes out and denies the fact that he never forewarned the Prime Minister of a possible attack on the Prime Minister inside the Parliament because the charge is grave. And if at all that is true, then instead of politically milking it, one needs to register an FIR and follow the legal course because that's a big, big charge.
Preeti, you've raised some very valid points, and let me just answer, everything very pointedly. First and foremost, what is good for the goose should be good for the gander. Mr. Ansari is right. But Pali, sir, do haath se bajti hai. The Speaker has invited the opposition for dialogue, but the opposition believes in my way or the highway. My way or the highway nahi chalega, point number one. Point number two, inflation, unemployment, Adani, Manipur, Ram Mandir, Pegasus, CAA, Waqf, Article 370, SIR, vote chori. On all these issues, the government was willing for a discussion, but Rahul Gandhi was MIA, missing in action. Point number three, do you remember last year in Darbhanga, all opposition senior leaders were present ahead of Bihar Assembly election and naare lagaye gaye. Modi teri kabar khudegi. Modi teri maa ki to kabar khud chuki hai. Not a single opposition leader came out and condemned these incendiary statements. Just 1 month back, in JNU, slogans were raised. Modi teri kabar khudegi, Amit Shah JNU ki dharti par teri kabar khudegi. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra, who have an opinion on everything under the sun, they consume Fevicol in wholesale. And I remember that on the 5th of January 2022, when Prime Minister Modi's cavalcade near the Bhatinda flyover was compromised, the then Congress Chief Minister of Punjab, Charanjit Singh Channi, said, अरे मोदी की जान को कोई खतरा नहीं है, ये तो नौटंकी है, ये तो ड्रामेबाजी है. जब मोदी जी की जान को खतरा होता है, you term that as नौटंकी and ड्रामेबाजी. Imran Masood made the boti comment. He was rewarded with a ticket to Saharanpur and he's the sitting MP from Lok Sabha Saharanpur. And I want to tell Divya Mahipal one thing. Today we have given employment to more than 18 crore people in the last 11 years. Today, India is the world's 4th largest economy. Today, the average inflation rate is 1.3%. Debate par aane se pehle padh likh kar aaya kijiye. Don't just blabber whatever is given to you by way of a so-called.
Okay. But, but Sanju Varma, it cuts both ways. It cuts both ways. People have been rewarded, even in your own party. There are examples of Ramesh Biduri ji, who after saying what he did on the floor of the Parliament was awarded with a ticket to fight an election. So let's, it cuts both ways in politics. Divya Maderna, I want to bring you back into this conversation. There was a point that Sanju Varma had raised, which you, in fact, raised in your submission as well. And that is, why not a discussion on General Naravne's book? The fact is, what is being contended today, that the LoP, this is by the Treasury benches and the government, that the LoP is given chance to speak, but he doesn't adhere to rules. Rules would demand that you cannot quote context out of unpublished material and content. Now, General Naravne has come out and said, my book was never published. Ma'am, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Preeti.
Ms. Maderna, can you hear me?
No, it's gone.
All right, my question is very clear because you say that the opposition is not allowed, leader of opposition is not allowed to speak. Now, the government says he's allowed to speak, but he has to follow rules. In the context of General Naravne's book, now it seems General Naravne has come out and said that his book was never published. So this is against the rule in Parliament to quote content out of context of unpublished material.
It was also published in a magazine, excerpt that he was reading
Okay,
it
I don't
out
think
from.
she can-
It's
okay,
always available on the Amazon. Mr. Gandhi did show that book in the premises of the Parliament.
Go ahead,
But here is, Preeti, it can't be my rules and your rules. So there are different rules for the BJP and there's different rules for the opposition. That's how now it's not going to work out. You know, we need a healthy debate here. Nishikant Dubey is allowed to carry a full bag of books and derogatory comments for 2 prime ministers. That is okay. But if Rahul Gandhi ji wants to ask the questions regarding serious border issues, security issues of this nation, then that's not called for. Then the laws happen to change. My colleague here on this panel, Sanju Varma, was saying that you must read and come. Well, you will not be able to judge me what I read and come. But what about the 45% unemployment rate that's gone highest so far? But we're not going to talk about it. When we talk about budget, it is people's money. It should be discussed. Why can't we discuss the budget here? Nishikant Dubey should be allowed to speak and Rahul Gandhi should not be allowed to speak. So we are here. You wanted, and she was saying that we had series of topics that she said we have all debated on. Well, let me tell you, Priyanka Gandhi ji had said that they wanted a condition that they had kept, that Vande Mataram pe debate hum tab karayenge, aap usko maniye, tab hum chunav sudhar par debate karayenge. Aap na barter system karna chahte hain parliament mein. Hum koi narrative set karna chahte hain, BJP ek narrative set karna chahti hai. Uske according agar opposition play karegi to it's okay, otherwise it's my way or the highway. So I think the parliament is lodger jam. The PM is hiding behind the speaker. The speaker is playing out the BJP agenda. I think the amount of money that's been spent to run the parliament, it is important to discuss the cost of living, unemployment. It is important to discuss जनता के मुद्दों से हमें discuss करना पड़ेगा जो जनता को.
Ma'am, your time is up. I appreciate all 3 of you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out.
The union budget has drawn fire from the armed forces fraternity after it ended income tax exemption on disability pension for soldiers who retire after completing their full tenure. Under the new rule, only personnel relieved from service due to injury or illness will get tax relief. Those who superannuate despite carrying service-related disabilities will now be taxed. That means soldiers who served till retirement, even after being injured in uniform, are now in the tax net. Veterans say the impact is massive. Among retiring officers, nearly 38% draw disability pension. Of them, over 97% superannuated and will now lose the exemption. The numbers are starker among Jawans, of nearly 48,000 disability pensioners. Over 29,000 superannuated soldiers will now be taxed, nearly 60% affected. Veterans have slammed the move, calling it unfair, discriminatory and damaging to morale.
ये जो इंजरी हमारी हुई है, ये तो जिंदगी भर चलेगी, जिंदगी भर चलती है. ये जो इन्होंने बोला कि जो सर्विस में रिटेन किए गए, उनको नहीं देना चाहिए, ये गलत है.
I have failed to understand why the government has woken up after 60 years. Once a concession or whatever is given cannot and should not be withdrawn.
From the battlefield to the balance sheet, veterans ask a pointed question. Is this fiscal reform or a tax on valor?
350 reforms have been.
Bureau Report, India Today.
India's disease burden is observed to be shifting towards non-communicable disease.
Before we cut across to our guest this evening, I want to bring in senior journalist, someone who's covered the armed forces for a very long time, my colleague Sandeep Unithan. Sandeep, for the larger understanding of our audience, what does this really mean and why has the financial bill this time come out, which, by cutting disability pension on one class of soldiers, you've created two classes of wounded soldiers?
Well, absolutely, Preeti. Just to clarify, there have been two classes of disabled soldiers always. There is the one category is the war-wounded soldiers, who there is no change in their status. They will continue to draw pension and disability pension. They don't pay income tax on that. The other category is the soldiers who continue in service. They complete their service and then they get a disability pension. The tax is the exemption that was given to them until now. That has been removed, and that is what is creating this controversy, and it has inflamed a lot of sentiments across the country, the 3 million veteran community across the country, because what you've done is you've actually aggravated this division that exists. These two categories of soldiers, the second category who had no option but to continue in service, that category is being seen as unfairly targeted, for the misuse of this by a few people. And there have been cases in the past of a few people, veterans who have misused that. But, for those exemptions, for those, shall we say, black sheep, the rest of the community is being targeted. That's what the feeling is, Preeti.
All right, Sandeep, thank you, for joining us and explaining it for the benefit of our viewers. I'm joined right now by General VP Malik, former Army Chief. Thank you, sir, for taking the time out and joining us this evening. It's very important, sir, for, someone like you to make our citizens understand on what it really does or a move like this does to the morale of our men in uniform.
Good evening, Preeti, and thank you for getting me on the panel. We are talking of withdrawal of income tax concession on disability pension of soldiers who either during peace or war get wounded. And that is being withdrawn if they continue to serve till the end of their service. Now, firstly, when a soldier is permitted to continue in service, he has to go through a medical examination. And it is the medical board which decides whether he should continue or he should not continue. If he is to continue, they bring down his category, medical category, and they put down some restriction that, look, you may not serve in high altitude, things of that nature, but he's permitted to carry on with service. Now, I can also tell you that we have a large number of officers who have risen to the highest ranks after they have been wounded, and they were permitted to carry on with the service. Like we had Sam Manekshaw, he got seriously wounded, but he retired as a field marshal. Then you had General Tapi Raina, who got wounded, he lost his eye, but he became an army chief. And even recently, you had General Pankaj Joshi, General Ian Cardozo, who was a Bravery Award winner. You had Vijay Oberoi, who became Vice Chief of the Army Staff. So, if they continue in service, we can make use of their talent, and the service also benefits. Now, why they have suddenly reduced this, brought this new rule, I cannot understand, because there is no justification given for that, and I personally feel that it is totally unjustified, totally
General Malik, the argument is, sir, the argument is by the government that it has been misused by certain army personnel. That seems to be the premise of discontinuing it.
Is there any example given to us that some people have misused it? That is one. No example is given there yet. Second thing is that if it has been misused, it is the task of the army headquarters, service headquarters, and the medical directorate to correct this whole thing. How should a bureaucrat come into that? You see, person who is permitted to, allowed to come down in the category and asked to be boarded out or to continue, it is the job of the medical board and the service headquarters. They are the one to decide it. I can't understand why Ministry of Defense or Ministry of Finance for all the people They should take a decision. Today, we are spending 1.71 lakh crores on our pension. You tell me how much benefit will they get by how much saving of this money will be there. On the other hand, you have hit their dignity. You have created this morale problem all over the place. And there is absolutely just no example given of people who have been misusing that. And as I said, misuse is a matter of discipline, which has to be sorted out by the service headquarters and the medical board if they are involved in that.
General Malik, I just want to ask you one question, sir. Because the ethos of the armed forces has always rested on the principle that you will put your life on the line no matter what, and you'll be taken care of. And that's, belief has been shaken.
Yeah, that's right. As long as a person is serving in the armed forces, he will continue to risk his life because he will continue to do his duty to the best of his ability. And why should he be punished after he retires? You see, some people who have been, who are boarded out, they will continue to have this concession. But this clause is now applicable to those who continue to finish their service, and then they will have to pay income tax on the disability pension that they get. So I cannot understand the rationale behind it. And as far as the service part is concerned, I mean, as I said, you have hit the dignity of an officer or a Jawan who continues to serve in service till the end of his tenure. And that, I think, is totally unjustified.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking the time out and joining us and raising your voice, because it's so very important for the likes of you to step up and do this. Thank you. I'm joined right now as well by Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon, known very fondly as Tiny Dhillon. General Dhillon, thank you for joining us, taking the time out, sir. Do you see any rationale on what we are witnessing today? Because, with what, General Malik also said, all it does is takes away from the morale of the Indian Armed Forces. After 60 years to come up with something like this, there can't seem to be any reasoning or concrete reason behind it.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to all our viewers. Yes, absolutely agree with what General Malik has said. And I would like to answer your question in two parts. One is, for the better understanding of the viewers, what exactly is disability pension and why it was there or why it should be there. And second is this withdrawal. How will it impact the functioning of the military? Now, firstly, just adding to what General Malik has already said, disability pension is crucial for supporting a disabled soldier to live his life with dignity and independence. It's a compensation. It's not an income. It has to be understood, it's compensation for the injury which he has got while in service, while protecting the motherland, while serving for the nation, which a normal person or a normal citizen is not exposed to the dangers and the hazards. So that injury which he has received, it is a compensation for that, and it's not an income that you tax it. And secondly, its compensation is for lifelong impact, which he is going to have physically, mentally, socially, and his inability to earn as a 100% fit person after his retirement to feed his family, to look after his own personal interests. So we have to recognize that it is a recognition of his sacrifice for the nation. I'm not using the heavy terms. I am making a very impactful statement that this is what this soldier has. As an officer, when I order a soldier to walk into a minefield and go and check if there are mines there or not, do you think if I tell anyone else working in a civil or a government organization to walk into a minefield, he will go? No. This soldier goes without questioning my orders or my wisdom. And when he steps on a mine, he blows off his right or left leg. And then he continues to serve because he's a Josh box. He's full of life. He wants to serve the nation. And he can contribute positively. General Malik gave examples of people rising to become chiefs, vice chiefs, army commanders. And then you tax him for that stupidity which he did of walking into a minefield. I'm calling it stupidity because that is what it is being made out to be. And another thing, ma'am, the point which you also refer to as misuse. If a bureaucrat is misusing a vehicle, does it mean we withdraw the vehicles of all the bureaucrats? If a politician is misusing his position, does it mean we punish all the politicians? If a person is misusing and you know he's misusing, please go ahead and take a disciplinary action, hang him. But do not punish the legitimate soldiers who have given their limbs and life for the nation. And now I'll tell you how it will impact the military if this is withdrawn. General Malik talked about it. There's a medical board where attributability is established. It is not that anyone who gets injured gets a disability pension. All the documents, the circumstances, the orders, the duty as to legitimate duty against the enemy, against the terrorist or in field area, all those things are checked, the medical documents are checked and the type of injury is checked. And then this medical board confirms that this injury is attributable to military service.
Right.
Only then he is given this disability pension, which medical board proceedings are also approved by the competent authority. It is not that one doctor or one individual can, fool the system. No, it's a process. It takes months for a person to be declared attributable, the injury to be declared attributable to military service. Now, once a person has been declared with the injury attributable to military service, now case of two individuals, same unit, same service bracket, same operation, same injuries, one goes out, one says, no, I'm a good soldier, I want to serve the army and I want to serve the nation. And his commanding officer and up the chain, everyone says, oh yes, he's a good soldier, he's a Josh box, he's an asset, he's a trained soldier. Why lose a trained soldier? We can gainfully utilize him in spite of his injury. And he continues to serve his full service. The person who has gone out, he gets the disability pension tax-free. The person who decides and who willingly opts to serve the nation, his pension is taxed. Now that is not fair. And another point, ma'am, what will happen now? Like I gave example, everyone who gets injured will opt for invalidment. That means he will opt for going out then and there so that he gets the pension which is tax-free. And this will impact the army. We will lose good soldiers, we'll lose willing soldiers, we'll lose soldiers who still has a lot of soldiering in him, and we will lose a trained soldier. And this is, if a person has got injured in operations and is trained and is willing and is full of josh, why should we lose him because we are going to tax his pension after he retires, after having completed his service? It's going to impact the morale, the composition of the army, and the willingness of the soldiers to serve the nation, even after getting injured in a big way. I think this needs to be corrected straight away. And I'm very sure the government is going to reverse this decision because it is not in the interest of the nation. It is not in the interest of serving soldiers. It's not in the interest of the military.
Well, you're right, sir, and thank you. I wish we had more time to discuss this at length, but thank you for joining us and making that impassioned pitch that the government takes it back, because it is about morale, but it's also about dignity. Dignity of men who put their life on the line for the country.